Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rays Rewind with Bell, Bushman, and Drew.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, Game 4 hero.
The sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. Make sure to go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe at the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind, and also go to our Instagram page at Rays Rewind Pod. I guess we'll just get right into it. The Rays just, at the time of this recording, the Rays just got swept by the Boston Red Sox. I don't want to take that away from them. And a lot of people now think the world is crumbling with the Rays, who are still above 500 going into the All-Star break, but have not played they haven't played baseball well in the past. So I would say, 2 weeks, Drew?
Yeah. Good to see you, Evan. Yeah, 2 weeks. Really, the Baltimore series. So the end of June.
Yeah.
I think that's it was like the 28th of June, 29th, something like that. And
which I will give the Red Sox credit. I mean, Garrett Crochet did pitch against them, and he's pretty tough to beat. But I think overall, where the biggest thing with the Rays this past couple weeks has been the bullpen. The bullpen has been downright terrible and now become more of a liability than anything. We thought we were getting some help in Baker coming in from the Orioles, which that was kind of a dumb move on Cash and company's part by putting him into the game, just coming right off the plane, not really getting acclimated to everybody and probably jet lag a little bit. So that's kind of on their part. But just overall, it's become a liability now. And it doesn't really help, too, that the offense wasn't putting up any kind of run support at all for the pitchers as well. So you're kind of reverting back to what the Rays were doing in the first month and a half of the season. I know it's got a lot of people spooked because there's some rumors floating around now, even though the Rays are above 500 going into the break, that they are probably going to trade Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau. Even though Lau's on the IL going into the break. I want to – let's just start off with going into the break. We're above 500. We're not at 500. We're above 500. We're 3 games above 500 right now? 47? Okay. So we're in fourth place.
what's I think they're 3-11, right?
Yeah. Last 14, I think they're 4-14. The last 18 as well. So where the Rays were once road dogs and played pretty well on the road, they've kind of now just kind of sputtered out. Now, I don't know if it's fatigue because we're heading into break, and obviously with some teams they're just gassed, and this could be a good thing for them to reevaluate everything, reevaluate lineups, reevaluate, the rotation, the bullpen.
Yeah.
Start getting ready for the trade deadline because that's coming up pretty soon. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I'm looking at their schedule from looking back. So, what was it? May 20th was that watershed moment that they hung, that every stat we saw about the Rays when they were playing so well was from May 20th on.
Yep.
And the new watershed date is June 27th. That was the day they lost to Baltimore 22-8. That was when they, got up real big early and then just gave it away like in 2 or 3 innings, like an 8-run lead. So since June 27th, they were going into June 27th, they were 46-35.
Mm-hmm.
They are now 50-47. So that would mean they're 4-12.
Yep.
We're
a couple of games out of first place, almost to the point of a half a game, and now we're 5 out of first place. Which, look, 5 games out of first place is manageable.
Yeah.
But I just think with the landscape now Toronto's found their footing. Yankees are, the Yankees are there. The Red Sox have found their groove at this point in time.
Right.
It seems like every team in the AL East has done that at least once this season.
And the Rays, to their credit, did.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
The Rays did it. The Toronto Blue Jays did it. Put them in first place. The Yankees had first place for about 3 months of the year. Orioles had their little stretch of where they were playing well as well. So look, I think with everybody that's saying, "Oh, this team's not going to make the playoffs for 2 years in a row. They're going to sell." It's like still a lot of baseball. We've got about a month and a half left after the break. So I wouldn't say push the panic button just yet because, all teams go through these slumps. And I've been saying this on X constantly. It's like, look, I'd rather have them go through a slump now than go through a slump when it really matters. But the thing is now, you get a week off, reevaluate, come into the second portion of the season to where, okay, now every game really kind of matters now.
yeah.
That's the mentality the Rays have to have.
Yeah, they had built themselves a nice little cushion.
Yeah.
With that run at the end of May, through into May and June, where I mean, I think they were a half game. I think going out of that Kansas City series, they were a half game from first.
Yep.
They, I believe, had a few games ahead in the wild card. A few games up, like as the first place team to the second place team, they were a few games up.
I think
they were second place team.
I think they were 2 up on Toronto at one point.
Yeah, and they were like 4 or 5 games up on the third wild card, and even a little further back or from the teams out of contention. So, yeah, I mean, it was. I think for me, I was most frustrated because with this span of this road trip, because I think I had convinced myself, and the Rays were a contender to win the division, and I understand like there's just as quickly as things went south, they could go on a run to start the second half or go on a run at some point in the second half from July 20th or August 20th to the end of September, and we're talking about them maybe being a division winner still. I realize that, but I had basically convinced myself, all right, wild card is in the bag at that point. Like they are good enough. They're playing. They're showing themselves to be a good enough team that they're definitely a wild card team. And
also
it's a matter of a division title at this point. And I've been very unimpressed with the Yankees just generally. So I was kind of thinking this is shaping up really good. And now I'm like, okay, well, I've gone from expecting a wild card finish to maybe competing for the division to now it's like, now we might just be fighting for a wild card spot. And so that's what's disappointing. But people say, "Oh, well, if I told you the Rays were 3 games over 500 going into the All-Star break and a game and a half out of the wild card, we would have taken that all the time." Of course we would have taken that at the beginning of the year. Well, yeah, but
I would take it if they were playing better. Like,
it's different.
they're
like
3. Yeah,
when,
it's different. It's different when they're playing well. They're 3 games over 500 and like a half game out. But like when they're not playing well, it's more of, look, they just got swept 4 games going into the break. Yeah, we're still above 500, but they're not playing good baseball. I would feel more comfortable if them playing good baseball, like having maybe a 500 road trip, but like it's not even like impressive baseball. Like, and plus too, like I know everybody's expecting all the reinforcements to coming back. Like Shane McClanahan's probably gonna be back, but like Hassan Kim, he's been injured a couple times already too as well.
Unimpressed.
And then,
I'll be honest. I mean, he had some good moments on the road trip offensively.
Yeah, he had that home run.
Yeah,
but then,
he's looked good defensively too. I don't know. I'm like,
give it time.
Yeah, I know.
But I also
since he joined the team, the road trip just was terrible. So maybe we're just not playing Taylor Walls enough, Evan.
But Drew, I think the biggest thing though is how many games have been blown by the bullpen.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing though.
Yeah,
and we're not going to be without Manny Rodriguez. He's pretty much done. He's going to get TJ because he can now head back to Tampa for an evaluation now. Yeah. So, look, the optimism is still there. I mean, you got to press reset, and I think with the front office too, it's like, okay, how can we go into the second half with hey, we got to shrug this off and play better baseball, because now the main focus is, okay, what are we going to be at the trade deadline? Because for a while there, a lot of people were like, hey, they're going to be buyers, buyers, buyers. And now,
Mhm.
are they still going to be buyers, 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 or are they going to be a combination of now selling and buying? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because if they're still in the mentality of like, okay, we're still going to make a playoff run, we're going to try and make a playoff run, we're going to fill the gaps that we need, which is bullpen help, and then, get maybe another bat. But, at what cost? Because this isn't like last year. Last year was, everybody kind of knew, like, hey, okay, they're probably not going to do it. They're probably going to sell some people, and then, hey, we're going to hit reset and look forward to 2025, which a lot of people knew that was coming, and this is where we're at now. I don't want that to be the case for this year, where, okay, they're over 500. They're going in the trade deadline, where if they make these moves where they're selling guys that are headed towards the free agency market, like Zach Littell and Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz, then that tells me, okay, well, we're giving up on this season and then looking forward to 2026. So if they do that, you're going to have a lot of angry Rays fans if you do that. I doubt that they do that unless the offers that are going to keep coming through the pipe and list. There's already rumors where teams are calling about Taj Bradley, which, that's just a rumor right now. But I think with the other guys, if you're gonna trade them, you gotta give me something back that's gonna be worth my while if I'm gonna be that. But it tells me that they're gonna hit the reset button again and just look forward to 2026. But I doubt that.
Yeah.
I hope.
So, a couple things. I think realistically, this 4-game series, you're looking at, up until today, I know today was a 3-run game, but you had 3 1-run games that did not go your way. Really, if you look at it, the Rays really should have won the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
Could have won this 3rd one with Taylor kind of, ball just getting underneath his glove, whatever. And, it's hard to get frustrated at Taylor for not making a defensive play that was a little bit above normal. He just is so good that, like, you can't get mad at Taylor defensively. But then the play at home, like, they could have had the game tied and the team pitched their butt off to stay in that, and it just didn't work out, because rarely do the Rays get breaks like that against an ace. It felt very, you just knew going in that, they were screwed. And then today they just lost. I think this slide, the Rays are usually aggressive at the trade deadline, buying, and I think Neander confirmed this as much on the T-Crash show on Friday. It's when they think that they have a really good chance at competing or winning for the division. Because I think we know with the Rays, it's one thing to get into the playoffs. It's another to win your division and potentially get that bye, because that is a huge, and I know they hadn't taken advantage of it the last time they had it.
Yep.
But that's such a huge advantage, not having to play in the wild card series and all that. So if they think that they could win the division and potentially secure a bye, they are going to do it. And I think that's why you were hearing, I think, a lot of that aggressive buying mentality prior to this, this recent stretch. Now I worry that because they're on the fringes of a wild card, and if they really are losing confidence in the bullpen with Manny not coming back, it's going to be, the typical buy, sell, maybe more sell. My concern too is if you sell pieces like Yandy and Brandon,
that to me, you're waving the white flag.
Well, yes, and I think they still have enough talent that, like, they could still technically compete and hang on in contention for a 3rd wild card spot at that point.
Yeah.
Because the pitching and the defense is so good. Real quick, the defense has been fantastic. Outside of all the other issues they've shown as a team, the defense has been top notch. So that's encouraging. But they could still technically compete. But it's waving a white flag for sure.
Yep.
But then for me, it's like, all right, well, we're hitting the reset button for next year. Well, I don't know if this team without Yandy and Brandon and their established bats in the lineup is good enough. I feel like you're going to just be even further behind next year. I mean, like Junior's great, obviously Jonathan's great, but like,
Yeah, but if you got that mentality though,
and then if Kim leaves, I mean, like,
well,
what?
also too, like Lau's hitting free agency after this season.
I think he's got another club option.
Yeah, but are they going to exercise that though?
I mean, listen, if he's healthy, I know he's hurt right now, but it sounds like he's going to be back to start the second half. If he's healthy and hitting 30 bombs, there's no. I find it hard to believe that they would get rid of him because for whatever reason, like him being a lefty power bat at second base. I mean, it's just he's been so when he's playing,
Yeah,
he's been very valuable to the team, and I mean, he's just.
he could have been.
I
He
don't. I
could have
don't think
been
this is
so
a
useful
question.
during the Red Sox series because he's
He's always hit them well, and he hits really
he's
well
always
at
hit them
AAA.
well. Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, so I'm concerned that they put themselves in a position that if they continue to hang around in this area where they're on the border of wild card team or out of the playoff,
Yep.
that you're not going to see that same aggression on the trade market. And that's the thing is too, like teams like the Yankees, they're going to buy. They're probably going to go get like a Eugenio Suarez and a pitcher.
Toronto's going to be
Toronto's
aggressive.
absolutely going to be aggressive, and
Red
the
Sox
Red
going to be
Sox are going to do
aggressive.
something.
Yep.
So it's just like everyone else is now going to be aggressive because they're hitting their stride, and the Rays are treading water at best, and it's going to be one of those. Well, I just kind of hope the group we have kind of turns it around and plays ball like they did from May 20th through June 26th or June 27th, and it's and just kind of hope for the best. I do appreciate them going out and getting Brian Baker. I think, I kind of scoured some of the Orioles sites, and it sounds like more fans than not were happy to see him go. I think part of that was because he blew their game earlier in the week, and I think he had a rough in 2023. I was reading he had a really bad playoff moment against the Rangers where he walked the bases loaded and they hit a grand slam and basically put game 2 out of reach. And
yeah, but
so they
Kyle
don't.
Snyder work
Yeah,
his
yeah, but
magic.
like they
He'll be
weren't. I was kind of because my impression of him when they played the Orioles this year, and just from what I've seen, I was like, oh, he's been pitching really well, and his numbers are really good. But
Yeah.
and the walk rate is real low, ironically, considering how Thursday's performance went, and the strikeout rate's real high. So like, I appreciate them going out and addressing the bullpen. I feel like a lot of times the Rays are so slow to move because they want to trust their guys and give them such a long leash, that it feels like the fans are going crazy with, like we got to do something. This bullpen looks terrible, and it's like, oh well, we're gonna, the bullpen's going through it, but we know they can turn it
Drew,
around, and it's just like
addressed
wait
it.
and wait and wait.
They addressed it, but it's still.
And I appreciate them at doing that. And I wish he would have gotten in today. I think, or I thought he was warming one other time, and I wish he would have been able to get a better, cleaner inning in with the team. You mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I don't mind at all them putting him in. I mean, the reality is the Rays always do that, right? I mean, we see it all the time with their own AAA prospects, especially bullpen guys. I mean, how many times have we seen? Now, sometimes they clearly bring guys up for mop up duty if needed, whatever. But like, I feel like I can you can count on, you need more than two hands to count how many times the Rays bring somebody up, whether it's a prospect or a guy they've just traded for, and they get him in as soon as they can, just to get him in, get his feet wet, whatever. And I realize, he's emotional day and everything, but like if the Rays go to Kevin Kelly or Edwin Uceda in that game and they blow it in a similar fashion or give up a big hit, lose the lead, Rays fans would be livid that they went out and traded this draft pick for this guy to solve a bullpen issue, and he's there ready to go because he's a professional, and they went with one of the guys that's been stinking it up the last 2 weeks, and yet they blew another game, and this guy's just sitting there, and this is why you got him, so I think it's kind of a lose-lose with how it turned out. So I don't mind them going to him. I mean, you could tell after the first few walks where he gave up the hit, he locked in and looked really good. So to me, that wasn't as, it just is what it is. I think,
heading. I want to ask you, heading into the break.
Yeah.
Actually, coming out of the break, do you think they're going to be playing the same, or are they going to hit the reset button and go back the way they were playing in May and June? I'm sorry, June and July. June and the first half of July, whatever.
Yeah, more of the same. Well, I would preface this by saying I think, and I don't want to be dramatic.
I want to know whoever put the hex on the Rays, whoever did this. I'm coming after you.
Yeah.
I'm coming after you.
The next 6 games in this second half, the first 6 with the Orioles and the White Sox, you could even extend that to the first 9 with the Reds, but that's on the road, so I'm kind of not including it. I think these first 6 games at home it's the most important 6-game stretch of the entire season, because you've got, and I get, like, people see Baltimore's in last place.
Yeah, but they're playing
and
good
they should win the series, no doubt. Because Baltimore, you kind of hope that maybe they made a trade or two by the time they play next week, but like a Rhino Hearn or somebody's gone. But they should win the series against Baltimore. I'm not dismissing Baltimore; they're a good team. They have good players still. I mean, you still got to go through Henderson and Cowser, and I'm sure Adley Rutschman will make a heroic return for that series. But with the Orioles and White Sox, most important 6-game stretch, because it's going to set the tone. Because I wish they would have gotten the win today, because then it's like, okay, you can kind of put to bed this whole they got the win, they're going to the break. Obviously, it was a rough stretch to end, but we got a win going in, kind of reset, regroup, come out, let's go. And perhaps, if things worked out right, you're in a playoff spot going into the break. Didn't work out that way. So now it's all right, perfect time for a break. So you can reset. I actually think, optimistically, the bullpen problems, to be honest with you, I realize Pete gave up the homer, and I know it lost them the game, but Pete has been far from any bullpen, like the bullpen issues that the Rays have had. He's not really been a part of that. Part of it's because he hasn't pitched as much, but he's also looked really good for the most part in his last several starts. And like you said, I think this was on the show, I don't know if it's beforehand, but it was the first homer he gave up all year. So I realize he blew that game. I'm not including him in this. I actually think that bullpen has looked really good the last couple of games. I mean, they were not the reason they lost against Crochet. Outside of Pete Fairbanks on Friday, Kelly and Clevenger on Friday. I think it was Clevenger. Lights out. Everybody, you said it looked great yesterday. Bullpen, Seymour came in, did great. I mean, they didn't give up I don't think they gave up a single run. So I mean, I'd like to think that, I know they hadn't pitched well, but they've had some solid games as a bullpen. The guys that were giving us trouble looked pretty good going into the break. So I'd like to think, coming into the second half, kind of mental break, mental reset, maybe Junior get some good mojo going from the All-Star game and the home run derby and whatever. They just come in a little bit looser, at home. I expect, I mean, I'm not going to go into the second half just being a Debbie Downer. I would like to think that they're going to come in playing better baseball. Part of that is the opponents. I think they definitely, it's 2 series they have to win. And if you come in out of that homestand, 5-1, you're probably right back in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I mean, and then it's like, all right, now we go. Now we got a decent stretch here. And you can kind of put it's a matter of just putting everything in the last 2 weeks in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
And
that's what I hope
we can do that.
That's what I hope they do. That's what I hope they do.
Because the more it lingers, it's just it's going to be a whole thing. And it's just going to, especially with the trade deadline right there, it's just going to have such a domino effect of if this team comes out flat and then they're 3 games out of a playoff spot, now all of a sudden 3 or 4 games out, we're talking, okay, they're, it's looking like, all right, I bet you're going to start hearing names like Pete Fairbanks being mentioned. You still kind of hear that, but Pete Fairbanks can be mentioned. I'm sure you're going to hear about Brandon Lau and Yandy, and now we're starting to have totally different conversations.
Yeah.
So
they've got 2 nationally televised games against the Yankees in the end of the month. So that 4-game series.
Really?
2, oh yeah, one on TBS and one on Prime Video.
Well, Prime is always Yankees. Yankees always do Prime.
But that's it is a tough. after that homestand, and then he got since he's playing decent,
Since he's good.
but like you got a 4-game stretch against New York, and then you come back home playing the Dodgers for 3.
Yeah, I'm looking.
The Dodgers have been struggling too. They lost what 7 straight.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Baltimore series. They got Charlie Morton, Dean Krimmer. Of course, they got Dean Krimmer pitching because he kills the Rays. And Trevor Rogers. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, just and then you got 4 at New York to end the month right at the trade deadline. You know that's going to be like just let's mentally like New York hasn't made a deal by then. They're going to make a deal by the time the trade deadline's the 31st.
Yep.
So they're probably going to have an acquisition or two by then. That's going to be firing them up.
If they come out, if by the trade deadline they're back in the winning ways, I kind of just want them to make some. I know they won't because historically they haven't. I just want them to make maybe a couple blockbuster moves. It's just going to be like, oh, okay, the Rays are kind of for real about this, but I know they won't. That's the bad part about it.
Well, you mentioned Taj Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
I know I saw that headline today, and that was like Bob Nightingale saying that they're open to offers.
But to me,
that's weird to me. That's a weird headline for me because I don't feel like I feel like we rarely see the Rays saying like, "Oh yeah, we're listening.
We're listening.
We're willing to listen on a player."
Yeah, but my question is why Taj Bradley, who's been kind of struggling, he's been not that. I mean, he's been just up and down, up and down.
I think it's
his last start was
4 years of control.
His last start was
obviously shown a ceiling that's really good.
Yeah.
But
for that, you'd want a couple prospects.
Yeah, I think it too. Like, I think it also comes down to like the impact of what you could get back. Like, I think on the surface it would make more sense to say like, oh yeah, they're listening on Zach Littell.
Yeah,
he's gonna make. I mean, he's like his contract is higher than what you think it is. Whatever people think he makes more.
You know what? Screw it. Let's call up Atlanta, put together a package deal, acquire Ronald Acuna and Sean Murphy, and just give them a package deal and just get those guys.
Listen. Can I just tell you, if the Rays went out and got Sean Murphy, I would be so upset and frustrated.
They don't need him.
No,
they don't need him.
That would be such a to me. Like, I never understood people saying they need to go get catcher. One, they don't understand that the Rays. I mean, I know that they went and tried to get Sean Murphy when he was with the Athletics, which would have made a difference at that point in time. Sean Murphy now is not going to make a difference on this Rays team, I don't think, personally, because
his name was brought up again this past week. His name was brought up again that
I don't see
the Padres and the Rays are once again.
I mean, maybe that's true, but like they just paid $8 million or something for Danny Jansen, and like I'll be honest,
Theis has been all right. Theis has been decent.
He's been fine, and like Danny's come around. I don't know what his average is at now, if it's above 200, but like I don't feel like anyone's. I don't know. They're doing just enough, and to be honest, that's how the Rays always have viewed the catcher position for the most part. Mm-hmm. They've taken chances at different times, but like I don't know. I just think that would be such a waste of like assets to go after a guy who is making a decent amount of money. I think he's making.
Yeah, but Drew, he wouldn't be the centerpiece.
He's making $15 million.
He is on the Braves.
Yeah, he's making $15 million for the next.
There's no way the Rays would make a trade for that. They would not take on that type of money, especially for a catcher. No way.
No. So, but I think with Taj, I think that it comes down to he's probably your best blend of upside and control that they could then get something really valuable in return. Like he's probably going to net you the biggest return of the guys that they would be willing to part with. I mean, I think that they could, in theory, if they're willing to trade Taj, they should be able to be willing to trade Shane. I think you trade one, you don't trade both, obviously. But Shane's shown more this year, so maybe they would rather keep him around if they're really shopping Taj. But again, it seems strange to me that they would put that out there. Because
it was from Bob.
I feel like that's not the usual like way the Rays do it. It's usually more of a surprise, like, oh yeah, this. But like I think you would see like a major league player or 2 for a guy like Taj, probably. I mean, if it was like now, listen, if it was like, hey, let's ship Taj to Los Angeles for like Dalton Rushing or something, and it was like a prospect catcher like that who's like, Dalton Rushing's been in the majors a little bit and done pretty well, but he's never going to be like the guy because they got Will Smith. I would be okay with that, if it's like a package deal. I also think that like it's not out of the realm possibility they could trade a guy like Josh Lowe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they could do anything. They're going to have to get rid of a pitcher one way or another, though. Because
Morel's probably going to go. He's probably gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's just taking up a bench spot right now. I don't know
Yeah.
what he's doing to this team, like for this team right now, other than just
Support.
they're keeping around for Junior. And I mean, like, he's not played bad when he's gotten time recently. I mean, his numbers suggest otherwise. Like, he's been okay. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird that they're not playing him at all. So there's so many things they could do. I feel like with Shane coming back, they're gonna have to move a pitcher or do something with that rotation.
Yeah, but would they though? They could probably move back one of the starters into the bullpen because the bullpen needs help. You could probably put either Rasmussen back in there.
No, they're not going to do that.
Well, I mean, or you could put Bradley or Boz.
With what they're paying, with them having Rasmussen as under contract like they do with the extension and making a whole thing about his innings limit. I mean, I saw that they're going to put him back to like 5 or 6 inning starts here coming back.
Yeah, because then you can have Boyle as an opener on that.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just it was just such a disappointing way to end the first half. And yeah, I mean, like, I get they're 3 games over and they're right there on a playoff spot, but given how where this team was prior, it is, you can't qualify it as anything other than disappointing.
All right, so to end of the show, what do you think they're going to do after the break?
Like record wise?
No, playing wise. Are they going to be back to where we think this team is capable of, or do you think that's going to be more the same?
I think they will. I think they'll play better. I think that this break is going to be a great way for them to get away from the game for the most part, come back a little more rejuvenated and refreshed. I think the fact that the games are at home is a big deal. And you got a couple series here at the beginning where I think regardless of what like both the Orioles and White Sox have terrible pitching. So I think they could easily come in and get some things going offensively and just kind of get the energy back. And you hope that the pitchers can come through. But I don't have any doubts that they're going to play better. It's hard not to play better, to be honest with you. So
the only way is up. The only way.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think Rays fans just have to prepare, like, again, if those 6 to 9 games, the 6 games at home and those 3 games against Cincinnati, by that point, we're at essentially the final few days before the deadline. If it's, I think, a below 500 baseball through those 9 games, 4 and 5,
expect a big sell.
And they're, a handful of games out. I think you're going to start seeing some really scary conversations.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. So no. I want them to make it. I want them to make it fun in the AL East. Let's have a coming down to the last wire race where and I said this before, storylines, man. What a better way to end the season where the team is winning, going to the playoffs, don't have a home. They're playing in a minor league stadium. They're Stu Sternberg's probably going to sell the team.
You remember?
Why not?
Yeah, and you remember? I think it was 2022 that playoffs that they, their offense was kind of terrible all year, but if you remember, you talked about like playing bad now versus at the end of the year. And I couldn't agree with you more because the All-Star break it's such a great time for them to have the All-Star break.
Oh yeah.
But
it's
like
the perfect time for them.
Yeah, in 2022, and I went back and looked, I remember them finishing on such a bad stretch.
Yep.
Going into the playoffs. They were 82-65 on September 18th, or 82-64, and they finished 86-76. So they went 4-11 to end the season over their last like 5 series. And they also finished the season on a 5-game losing streak. And we saw that bleed right into the playoffs, you know. And so I think having this 4, 5 days or whatever break where guys, hopefully outside of the guys that are in the All-Star game and home run derby, hopefully they don't touch a baseball for the next 4 days, and don't even get around a baseball. It's just like this great, like, all right, in the past, line of demarcation, we're moving forward, we're back home, let's do it, let's go, and they bring some positivity in the second half. And let's just watch let's just watch him win the home run derby. And
I'm excited, even though I'll be
home
on a
run
cruise
derby
ship.
champ and all-star game MVP with a big home run against Paul Skeens.
I'll be on a cruise ship, but I'll make it a point to go to the sports bar there to watch the home run derby.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Hey, you're getting a break. I mean,
yeah, we're all getting a break on this.
I can hold it down over here for us while you're cruising, but yeah, let's get the good vibes going tomorrow with the home run derby championship for junior. And yeah, the last week and a half sucked. But
so breathe easy.
We're watching the games just for the people, so they don't have to.
Breathe easy, Rays fans. We need a break. We'll come back and we'll get back to winning ways, hopefully. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rays Rewind Podcast. We'll see you in about a week, maybe 2 weeks, because I'm on an extended break. But make sure to go to our YouTube page at the Sick Podcast, Rays Rewind. Hit the subscribe notification bell, and at Rays Rewind Pod on Instagram. Give us a follow, like, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time on the Rays Rewind Podcast. Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind with L. Bushman and Drew on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.